Hey guys, this is my presentation about the Christmas traditions in Italy. I'm going to start with this. Italy is about 5,700 miles away from Houston, Texas. They have Christmas trees just like us that are decorated with green, red, and white lights. Then there's this one. I honestly don't know what it is. So anyways, Christmas in Italy lasts from December 17th to January 6th. Their food consists of a first course that's either broth or pasta, a second course that's meat and then fish, and then dessert. The dessert they eat is a type of Christmas cake called panettone, which is a traditional cake filled with candy. Then on the night of January 6th, an ugly witch named Befana comes and delivers presents on a broomstick to the children in Italy. Not a sleigh like us, but a broomstick. The children wake up with presents under their tree, and they have Befana to thank.
Christmas in Serbia by Riley Wire. In Serbia, they have a piece of bread called a kolache. They hold this kolache, then eat it. It also snows a lot in Serbia. In order to keep warm, Serbians start a huge fire. With the fire, they have fireworks. Mostly everyone is outside. Also in Serbia, they tie up their mom. And the only way she can be untied is when she gives the kids presents. Here is a picture of everyone holding the kolache. The end.
Christmas in Venezuela is very festive and colorful. Fireworks are very popular. Traditional Venezuelan Christmas food includes holocaust, a mixture of beef, pork, chicken, raisins, and olives. They also make pan di jamin, a type of bread that is puffy and pastry. It is made of ham, raisins, olives, and bacon and shaped like Swiss rolls. Some traditional Christmas music is Gace music. This is the genre folk music. They use a guitar with 4 strings, and they use a drum with skin and a stick coming through the middle. The end.
Newfoundland holds a Christmas light-up contest every year. People dress the outside of their houses with lights and often have big ice sculptures in their front yards. Many Canadian families have cookie baking parties. They bring a recipe for Christmas cookies, bake them, and exchange them. Going skiing and skating is popular around Christmas time. Many families in Canada of French descent have a huge feast/party on Christmas Eve called a Réveillon. The main meal on Christmas is often roast turkey with vegetables and mashed potatoes.
On Christmas, France lights up the Eiffel Tower and treats it like a Christmas tree. France is also one of the top 10 countries that decorates the best. In France, a nativity crib is also used to help decorate the house. French cribs have clay figures in them. During December, some towns and cities, such as Marseille, have sales that sell nativity figures. Sometimes it's the town that has fairs that sell these nativity figures. French foods during Christmas are many desserts and lots of meat. 13 different desserts are eaten on Christmas Eve. The main Christmas meal, called Réveillon, is eaten on Christmas Eve and early Christmas morning after people have returned from the midnight church service. In France, Father Christmas, or Santa Claus, is called Père Noël. In eastern France, he is also accompanied by Le Père Fouettard, a man dressed in black.
Christmas Eve, children, especially boys, often go out singing gondola carols in the streets. They play drums and triangles. They sing sometimes. They will also carry model boats decorated with nuts, which are painted gold. Carrying a boat is a very old custom in the Greek islands. Every December in Australia Square in the city of Thessaloniki, which is the second biggest city in Greece, a huge Christmas tree and 3 masted ships are put up. It's a popular tourist attraction. The main meal is often lamb or pork roasted in an oven or over an open spit. It's often served with a spinach and cheese pie and various salads and vegetables. Other Christmas and New Year's food include baklava, a sweet pastry made of phyllo, honey, kafli, a pastry made of special form of shredded phyllo dough, or flavored nuts, cinnamon, tres peas, a kind of fried pastry.
The Christmas traditions of Guatemala possessions are performed for 9 days with several religious statues taken around the plaza or town, accompanied by loud drum beats and firecrackers. Everyone waits until midnight to light hundreds of fireworks or firecrackers to celebrate the birth of Jesus. A family prayer is said around the tree, and it is the custom to open the presents shortly after midnight. Carols and hymns are sung at selected houses commemorating the Holy Family, asking for lodging and shelter in ritual fashion. The Holy Family are welcomed and taken to the manger scene for the night, and they move on to the next house the next day. Everybody enjoys food and drinks after each procession. On Christmas Eve, families celebrate together and eat the main Christmas meal. It is made of several traditional dishes, but is always included with Guatemalan tamales. On Christmas Eve, the families in Guatemala sweep out their houses and take the dirt to the center of the village, where they burn a devil to prepare the coming of Jesus. Most Guatemalans, like other Latin American countries, plan and build with the entire family a nativity scene called a nacimiento, or Belén. Christian religious activity is performed by the community in the form of processions and novenas.
This is Iceland's Christmas. The beginning of Iceland's Christmas celebration starts with a day called St. Thalakus Day, and is on December 23rd. The family put up their trees on this day, and they call their trees Yules. The Icelandic Christmas is called Jólador, or Yule Day. The main dish is called hangikjöt, and it is a leg roast of lamb. They also serve a dish called rajupa. It is served as a rock ptarmigan seabird, and that is roasted. Last is they serve the lafabrau for dessert, or it's also called leaf bread. It is fried thin sheets of dough that's all layered up. All the families have their own patterns for this to make them unique. Last is on Gamlaskavold, which is their New Year's Eve. They usually light bonfires for celebration instead of doing fireworks.
In China, only about 1% of people are Christians, so most people only know a few things about Christmas. Because of this, Christmas is only often celebrated in major cities. In these big cities, there are Christmas trees, lights, and other decorations on the streets and in department stores. Only a few people have a Christmas tree or celebrate Christmas at all. If people do have a tree, it is normally a plastic one and might be decorated with paper chains, paper flowers, and paper lanterns. They might also call it a tree of light. Christmas isn't that widely celebrated in the rural areas of China, but it is becoming more well known. A tradition that's becoming popular on Christmas Eve is giving apples. Many stores have apples wrapped up in colored paper for sale.
During the Christmas season, the weather is warm and mild. People of Mexico decorate their homes with lilies and evergreens. Family members cut designs in brown paper bags to make lanterns called farolitos. They place a candle inside and then put the farolitos along sidewalks. On Christmas Day, Mexican people go to church, and after church, Christmas dinner begins with oxtail soup with beans and hot chili, followed by a roasted turkey and a special salad of fresh fruits and vegetables.
Christmas in New Zealand takes place in a hot environment, even though it's in December. People like to spend time on the beach and go camping at their botches, which is a New Zealand word for holiday home. They like to have parades with floats, bands, and marching girls. Santa is always seen wearing shorts and jandals, which is a New Zealand word for flip-flop. Santa's reindeer are given carrots, and Santa is given beer and pineapple chunks, as this has become a tradition for the Maori people. They like to have a barbecue for their typical Christmas lunch. Desserts are also served: pavlova, hot pudding with ice cream, meringues, cold fruit, salad, and jelly and ice cream. A typical Christmas dinner will take place in June when it's their winter and it's cold. Roast chicken, lamb, cold ham, hot roast vegetables such as potatoes, pumpkin, sweet potato, and other root vegetables, and also greens such as peas with gravy are served in this time. Since mostly of their population is Christian, most houses have a typical nativity scene.
In Japan, Christmas is not an official holiday, so kids still go to school and people still go to work. They only have celebrated Christmas a few decades now. They have a Christmas cake that is usually a decorated sponge cake with many figures of trees, flowers, and Santa. They also have Christmas ramen, bento, and a Christmas sushi cake. The traditional meal to eat on Christmas in Japan is fried chicken. KFC is the most busiest restaurant of them all. They also have a small figurine designed to hang on the rim of all their glasses. They also have a small Christmas bonsai tree, and the Japanese people make Santa origami. In Tokyo's Skytree Town, is decorated with Christmas illuminations until December 25th, which also has the world's tallest Christmas tree in the Tokyo Skytree.
Christmas is a fun and interesting time in Australia. In Australia, people will have little competitions with their neighbors to see who can decorate the best house. Each state capital has a big carols by candlelight service, and the schools will have smaller ones. In Australia, the main meal is eaten at lunch. They will usually eat seafood and or the traditional English meal. If they have radios, people in the outback will send Christmas greetings to each other. The Australians will have a time after Christmas Day known as Boxing Day, where friends and families will have barbecues at the beach and exchange gifts. There is also a famous yacht race from Sydney to Hobart in Tasmania held on Boxing Day.
People in South Korea celebrate Christmas just like you and me, except that they tend to go to a bit of an extreme on decorating and dressing up. Some of the things that they do differently than the US are that most people only get 1 to 2 gifts because they want to cherish the thought of it more than the actual gift. They also go to church at midnight on Christmas Eve, as well as Christmas morning and Christmas night. They also like to get together with their family and eat sponge cake covered in icing, usually from a local market store, or an ice cream cake from Baskin Robbins. Merry Christmas and enjoy.
Like a lot of countries, nativity plays and carol services are very popular during Christmas time. Children believe that Father Christmas or Santa Claus leaves presents in their stockings or pillowcases. Children write letters to Father Christmas or Santa listing their requests, but sometimes instead putting them in the post. Letters are tossed into the fireplace. Most families have Christmas trees, or maybe even 2, in their house for Christmas. In the UK, the main Christmas meal is usually eaten at lunchtime or early afternoon on Christmas Day. It is normally roast turkey, roast vegetables, and all the trimmings, which means vegetables like carrots and peas, stuffing, and sometimes bacon and sausage. Dessert is often Christmas pudding. Mince pies and lots of chocolates are often eaten.
Christmas in the Democratic Republic of Congo is more of a religious festival than a commercial holiday. More than 50% of the people are Christian. On Christmas, most people do not give gifts, usually due to financial reasons. Christmas Eve in the Congo is big for churches because they usually have 5 to 6 choir concerts and nativity plays. On Christmas Day, people usually eat pork or chicken. There is also a meal consisting of rice and yam paste called fufu. The rest of Christmas is spent quietly, resting or sleeping after a long Christmas Eve. All the festivities end and people go back to work on the 26th, which is known as Boxing Day and is also celebrated by Germany and Australia.
On the second Saturday of November, Sinterklaas travels to a city or town in the Netherlands. He is the Netherlands version of Santa Claus. He lives in Madrid, Spain, and every year he chooses a different harbor to arrive in so as many children as possible gets to see him. He, with his servants, Zwart Pietens. Sinterklaas and Zwart Pieten come ashore from a steamboat, and all of the local church bells ring in celebration. He is dressed in his red robes and leads procession through the town riding a white horse. Every town in the Netherlands has a few Sinterklaas helpers. They're dressed in the same robe as Sinterklaas and help give the presents out. The evening that Sinterklaas arrives in the Netherlands, the children leave their shoes out to the fireplace or sometimes a windowsill and sing Sinterklaas songs. They hope that he will come during the night with some presents Children are told that Zwart Pieten keeps a record of all the things they've done in the past year in a big book. Good children will get presents from Sinterklaas, but bad children will be put in a sack, and Zwart Pieten will take them to Spain for a year and tell them how to behave.
In the days of the Soviet Union, Christmas was not celebrated very much. This year, Christmas is celebrated on January 7th, 2017, because of the Russian Orthodox Church. Some popular Christmas Eve foods include beetroot soup, vegan potluck served with individual vegetable pies, and salads often made from vegetables. Sauerkraut is the main dish on a Christmas Eve meal. It can be served with cranberries, cumin, shredded carrot, and onion rings. It can be followed by more pies, pottage dishes such as buckwheat and fried onions and fried mushrooms.
Christmas is widely celebrated in Sweden. On Christmas Eve, a buffet is often eaten at lunch. Swedish people eat cold fish, turkey, roast beef, Christmas ham, cheeses, salads, pickles, and different types of bread and butter. There's also warm foods like meatballs, sausages, and pork ribs. Vegetables such as potatoes and red cabbage are served. Another potato dish they eat is mashed potatoes layered with cream, onion, and anchovies. Families sometimes have goats made of straw in their house to guard their Christmas tree. In some cities, a huge straw goat is built every year for the start of Advent. It's 43 feet tall and takes 2 days to put up. It's always a target for vandals who try to burn it down. Presents are normally exchanged on Christmas Eve. On Christmas morning, people often go to church. Lutheran Christianity is the largest religion in Sweden. Another popular tradition that many Swedes do is watch Donald Duck on Christmas Eve. The TV station TV1 shows the Disney special From All of Us to All of You. About 40 to 50% of the Swedish population stop to watch it. In Sweden, presents are brought to children by Santa or by gnomes/elves.
Denmark. In Denmark, Christmas is not the main holiday during American Christmas season, but Advent is more celebrated. Danish Christmas always starts off with the Advent wreath. The wreath has 4 candles, each of which is lit every Sunday leading up to Christmas Eve. Traditionally, the Advent wreath is made out of fine spruce twigs and cuttings, often decorated with red berries and spruce cones, white candles, and red ribbons for attaching the wreath to the ceiling. Another December tradition is the calendar candle. In most families, candles are lit every day from December 1st as a soothing factor in a hectic period, quite often in the breakfast table. Frequently, it is the children's duty to blow out the candle before it burns down too far into the next day. A pakkenkalender is also a fun way to count down Christmas Eve. There are 24 small gifts for the children in the calendar, one for each day until Christmas Eve. You can also support Jukenmedfonden when you send Christmas cards in Denver. Every year, a set of Christmas stamps are sold in December to help raise money for the charity. Use normal postage stamp as well. Making cakes and biscuits is popular in the time before Christmas. Gingerbread cookies and vanilla ones are often favorites. And that is how Christmas is celebrated in Denmark.